It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is a Thin Lizzy classic right there with the Cowboy song. And on the phone,
yes,
we have the great, and I do mean the great, Marco Mendoza, who's done so many things I can't even sit here and list all of them. So welcome to the Classic Metal Show there, Marco.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be anywhere, anyhow, anytime, and glad to do it.
Well, Marco, I'm going to start right off as a fanboy here and let you know that I had the pleasure of meeting you and hanging out with you way back in 2003 when you were with Whitesnake. And you were playing.
And I was 25. Yes, I remember.
and you were playing with, I believe it was the Scorpions, Whitesnake, and Dokken at the Allstate Arena in February of, I believe it was 2003.
Wow, how cool is that, man? Very beautiful, beautiful memories.
Yep.
Beautiful time.
So that's why I remember.
Although I can't take anything away from the past 5-6 years. I mean, it's been climbing and climbing and climbing without sounding pretentious. It's just, my career is just unbelievable, man. I get surprised. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm going, I'm doing what? I'm where doing what? I'm like, I have to pinch myself, you know?
Sure.
It's all good, man.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that the experience I had meeting with you and speaking to you was very cool, and you were definitely on the top of my list as one of the nicest people in the music business that I've ever had a chance to meet.
Well, thank you, man. That's important to me, you know? I don't understand why people can't be kind to each other and respectful and courteous. I just don't get it. I come from that place, you know. It's important for me to try and make a difference. That's all. The little things that matter, you know. I'm glad, man. I'm glad I'm on that column. I'm glad I'm on that list. Thank you.
Well, sure. Well, Marco, you know, the last couple of years you've been out there. You've been touring with Thin Lizzy. I personally had a chance to check you guys out when you were opening for Priest and Black Label Society. And I'm sure you knew going into that project that there were going to be a lot of eyes and there were going to be a lot of people ready to tear you down. Not you personally, but you, Thin Lizzy, as a band. Because let's face it, Phil Lynott is a higher level figure.
Iconic.
Exactly. And to replace him, and I don't even want to say that you guys replaced him, because you replaced him in sound because Ricky does a fantastic job sounding like him. But the way that you guys paid homage to him, you know, during the show, throughout the show, was truly astounding. And for people that did not get to see that, as I did, I mean, the shows were absolutely brilliant sounding as to the memory of Phil and Thin Lizzy with Phil. But they really had an energy that was very fresh and new, man. So congratulations on that, first off.
Well, thank you so much. And just a note on that is, you know, the reality is that people like Phil Lynott become very far in between and very seldom. And people that are that gifted, you cannot replace people like that in this business or any other business. What we try and do, what I like to say, is that they left a legacy and they left a catalog of brilliant music, and somebody had to step in and play the bass parts, and somebody had to step in and do the vocal parts, and in my opinion, this is the best way of doing it, and so you can't replace Freddie Mercury, for example.
Sure.
And there's so many examples that that's another book, that's another show, but long story short, we go out there, we try to represent the music. There's some diehards that were not accepting of it, and what do? I mean, there's nothing you can do other than represent the best way you can and hopefully turn them around, and we did it for the large part. I mean, for the most part, there was a lot of people, especially in the UK and Ireland, they were a little skeptic about it, and they turned around. I would say 9 out of 10 people would turn around and say, yeah, we get it. So it is what it is, and from a lot of things, from that thing came came a lot of good things, i.e., Black Star Writers. So
Sure.
it's all there's always a purpose behind anything and everything that we do in the music business, especially with Thin Lizzy. I don't know if you realize that, but I've been part of that mix since '94.
Okay.
And so I've seen it. Believe me, trust me, the first couple of years for me to come in there and play bass, I got beat up a little bit. And I try not to take it personal. And all I used to hear from the other guys like Brian Downey and Scott Graham and Darren Wharton, John Sykes, who was part of it then, was, "You're doing a great job, don't worry," and that's it. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I'm a bass player. That's what I do, and I'm a singer as well, a songwriter, and a musician. So, we can always try and do the best we can, and you can't please everybody all of the time, And so you try not to pay attention to the people that are a bit close-minded and just move forward. Somebody has to play the music, and I think we did a good job without sounding pretentious again. I think we did the best representation of the catalog and the songs, and Ricky Warwick just hit it out of the park, absolutely. So,
sure.
What else can I say? It's
right. Well, and that's kind of the thing is, I had the opportunity to see one of the Sykes shows, and certainly John Sykes is an amazing singer all by himself, and I don't think anybody questions his guitar playing, but it didn't quite have the feeling that
the fire, the passion, yes.
Right. I mean, the current lineup has the vibe. And I don't know how else other to explain it, but you really felt like you were seeing Thin Lizzy. At least I did, this time. And I mean, certainly there's let's be honest. There's no chance that Phil Lynnett's going to come back to the stage. So the representation of the band, if you're going to accept a Thin Lizzy show as Thin Lizzy these days, then you're going to do it based on the sound and nothing else, because there's no real way to bring Phil back.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in agreement, 100%. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
But now the interesting thing that I think you guys have done, Marco, and I'm interested as to you guys' thought going into this was, you came back and you decided to record new music, and you guys made a purposeful decision not to call it Thin Lizzy, to come up with a new name since it is new music that does not involve Phil. And to be honest, that's a very bold statement. I know from doing this show, fans all the time complain that bands, when they replace all but one or two guys, they should change the name. But you guys actually took the bolder step to do that, which, let's face it, that is more or less the middle finger in the face of the industry that would say, slap the name Thin Lizzy on it and do that project. So I'm curious for you guys, what went into that decision to not call this Thin Lizzy and give it its own name and its own identity separate from Thin Lizzy?
Yeah, there's a few things that happened along the way. First of all, when we went out and I got called from management that Scott and Brian and Darren, together with management, Adam Parsons and Ace Trump, were considering, doing the Thin Lizzy again. They called me and they wanted me to be part of it. I don't think it was in anybody's head, to be honest, that it would get the reception that we got. I think originally it was, going to be like a 2-3 month run. We'll go out there and do some shows, have a great time, and play some of the best classic rock and roll music ever. And, timing is everything in this business, like you know. And nobody knows when it's going to light up, and it just, for some reason, lit up like you wouldn't believe, and we started getting invited here and there and everywhere, and before you know it, we were out there for 2 years,
Sure.
So somewhere along the way, it was suggested that in order for this to continue, that it'd be a great idea to start writing some songs. And everybody was in agreement, because the vibe, like you say, was undeniable. It was very strong. The reception was over the top. And, first and foremost, we're all musicians, and we're all creative and all that. And so we were up for the challenge. We saw the talent. We felt the vibe. we were hungry for new music, and so originally we were going to fly the Thin Lizzy flag. And without getting into specifics, what happened is we came across a few situations with the industry, with the fans, with the estate, and the decision was made by Scott and Brian to maybe not follow through, not go through with it. So,
Okay.
Management and some of the other guys got together and said, "What do you think?" We all started talking about it, and the proof was in the pudding, man. The music was happening, the songs were great, and with the backing of the label, we decided, well, let's go. We're up for the challenge, and so there you go.
Sure.
It's like nobody knows, especially these days, man. The business is so it's unpredictable, and it's changing from month to month, sometimes from week to week, and you just do what you can do, and if it's accepted, cool. And so far, so good. The single was released, and the response has been over the top. Ricky Warwick and Scott Gorham just got back from doing a press run in Europe, and it's been overwhelming, over the top. So it's all good, man. Well,
Sure.
it's yet to be seen what's going to happen, but I have a good feeling about it everywhere. It's just people are ready. We went out there and put on some good shows. So I think, you can expect the same with new music. So with a new name, flying a different flag, but the inspiration came from Phil and Gary and then Lizzy and the catalog, et cetera, et cetera. So we're out there, man. We're going to go out there in June. So
Awesome.
We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm curious for yourself, Marco, as well as for Ricky, who I'm sure you interact with and what kind of pressure is there to step into what are basically iconic shoes? Because let's face it, and probably Ricky more than you, but I mean there's just no way to fill shoes. And you see him day to day.
And nobody's trying to do that. Comes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Mm-hmm. Let's just say that we got inspired by his spirit and his legacy and the catalog of songs, and we are wanting to grab that flag and fly it again with a different name, different music, et cetera, et cetera. The pressure, there's always pressure, bro. There's always going to be, you're all constantly being tested in this industry.
Sure.
And if we really start paying too much attention to that, it's going to hinder us, and it's going to help us from moving forward. So we're all trying, I think, individually and as a group, we're just trying to be optimistic and look at the good side of things. In my opinion, when you get to hear the whole album, you understand where we're coming from.
Sure.
But Ricky just hit it out of the park, man, with the writing, and him and Damon just hit it off really well. They started writing some killer stuff. We all brought in what we brought in to the mix, and of course Scott Gorham is there. There's only one Scott Gorham, man. That's it.
Sure.
And so the album is kicking. The single is well received. We're booking some shows. We want to be careful about how we move forward, et cetera, et cetera. So it's we're up for the task. Let's just say we're up for being tested, if that's what's going to happen. And I guarantee you, we're going to put on some of the best shows you'll ever see. So that's it. That's all I can say.
Sure. Now
we can talk forever, bro. We could just talk forever about the topic. And ultimately, the fans. Ultimately, you have to come and check out the show and see what's going on stage. You have to hear the songs, hear the music, and take it from there.
Sure. Well, trying to translate it all, Marco, and again, maybe there's not a translation that's yet been defined for this, but does the rise of Black Star Riders and the release of the album, that's coming, does that signal an end to the quote-unquote Thin Lizzy as a touring entity?
I can't tell you how many times we've had to answer that question. And the stock answer is going to be that we're all in agreement that we are going to put Thin Lizzy on hiatus, if you will. Not to say that if we get invited to do this or that, and it's something that's cool and everybody's up for it, schedules are open, everybody's available, that we won't do it. But right now our focus is going to be paying attention to Black Star Riders and give that as much steam as possible. So, yeah, for now, Thin Lizzy will be put on hiatus, on the back burner. And there's already talk. I'm not at freedom to say what's cooking for next year, possibly. So, or even at the end of the year, we don't know, But there's always something brewing. You can imagine with the legacy of a band like Thin Lizzy, invitation's going to come up. So we just want to be smart about it. We kind of saturated the market. We went out and worked every possible festival, every possible venue that made sense. And now it's time to try and build this new project up, Black Star Riders. So that's our main goal right now. And to answer your question, yeah, we're going to put it on the back burner for a minute. Not to say that it won't happen again. We just don't know when and where,
Well, Marco, I've always been curious about your career in general. Obviously you got good things going on with this Black Star Riders and whatnot, but for all intents and purposes, where your break into the quote unquote big time is concerned, it kind of came late in life for you. How did you?
It did. Yeah, go ahead.
How did you hook up with John Sykes to begin with?
John Sykes, I'll tell you, the biggest factor in my career. I was doing a lot of cool things, and that don't even need to be mentioned. But I was doing a lot of work. I was in the LA area, and let's just say that I had a big problem with alcohol and drugs, and I was not able to follow through on a lot of things that were getting in front of me. And so I pretty much burned every door that opened up and every bridge that was available to me. I kind of beat it all up, and I wasn't ready to deal with it emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, in every possible way. I had the big problem with drugs and alcohol, and so I stepped all over myself and crashed. In 1987, I managed to come to the conclusion. I got on my knees and prayed for help. And I've been able to put a few years of sobriety behind me, 25 years, coming up with 26 years, September 20th. So I'd like to say that I was kind of reborn and, with a lot more clarity in my head, in my spirit, a lot more ambitious, and my work ethic was pretty strong, and I focused a lot, and so when opportunity came, I was ready to go, and that's when I really started getting back on the map.
Sure.
John Sykes came to me. I was doing a local gig here in LA, a place called La Vallée, which is a jazz club, and I had a trio, and I still play with that trio from time to time. We actually do a lot of work with that. He came to me because the story goes that Tony Franklin and Carmine had, Tony Franklin had left Blue Murder after the first album, and they started on the second album, and so John needed to finish. He had to deliver the album, which ended up being Nothing But Trouble on Geffen, and he was looking for a fretless bass player. And a lot of people don't know this about me still today, but that's my main instrument. Whenever I can, I try to play fretless. And I pull it out every so often, clinics and all that stuff. I'm on my way to Frankfurt now to do that. And so I'll play and goof around and have a good time with fretless. So anyway, long story short, he heard about me, word of mouth, came to the club. We played this set, the first set. I took a break. And he came over, introduced himself. He said, "I'm John Sykes. I know who you are. It's just, I need to deliver this album, and you sound amazing. I want you to be part of this. Are you interested?" I said, "Of course." So within a few weeks, I was in the studio with him, and that's how the connection was. So Nothing But Trouble came out maybe 3 or 4 months after that. We ended up touring in Japan. And in the set of the Blue Murder set, we would include 3 or 4 songs that were co-written by John and Phil Lynott on the set, i.e., Thunder and Lightning, Cold Sweat, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was my introduction to Thin Lizzy in a bigger way. I had known about the classic hits and all that. So let's just say in '94 we were in Japan, and one of the promoters, Udo, who's still highly respected, he's one of the biggest promoters. He's one of the promoters, the biggest guys in Japan. He's retired since then, but also really respected in the business. We were having dinner after a tour, and he came out and asked John. I said, "Have you stayed in touch with the guys, with Scott, with Brian, with the boys?" And John said, "Yeah." He said, so he was responsible for lighting the fire, if you will. He said, "What do you think about calling the guys and try to put maybe a little tribute tour together to say, to pay our respects for Phil and all that?" He was really close to Phil in it, and he loved him to death. And so that's how that happened. Shortly after, I get the call from John saying the guys are coming to L.A. We're going to put a tour together. What do you think? And I said, "Of course." So I did my homework, I did my work, and came and met the guys and played, and the rest is history.
Wow.
So that was a connection with John and Thin Lizzy.
Well, you're very, very fortunate, Marco, and as I said
Yes,
at the very beginning of the interview, I'm a fan of yours personally, and as I said, meeting you in person, and as gracious as you were and very cool about hanging out, I really appreciate that, and I'll always remember that. Another question I had is, you've had the opportunity, obviously, to work with John Sykes, and you've worked with some other guitarists such as George Lynch, and these guys have a reputation, and I don't know this as fact, it's just reputation or perception. They're a little bit difficult to work with, but you've obviously worked with them. Are they difficult to work with, or are they temperamental in any way?
Well, that's all relative to where it's coming from, that information. I could tell you I could be very difficult to work with too. But what I like to say, and it's true to my opinion about these guys, is that creative people are we're different people, man. We're not your 9-to-5 guys. We're not normal in that regards. We're temperamental sometimes. We're passion-driven people, and sometimes, we're misread by other people. I've had nothing but great experiences with John, musically speaking. He's one of the most talented cats that I know, writing-wise, singing, playing, over the top. I can't even tell you. And same with George. George is just like a brilliant, he's like a genius kind of cat on the guitar, amazing stuff. And every time I walk away working with these people, with these cats, I walk away having learned something. So for me, it's been all good, And also my attitude, I'm a people person. I understand what the music business is about. I understand what it is to go into the studio and record and try to be supportive of the visionary. And this, these guys have a vision, and you kind of have to support that. Being a bass player, that's my first role, to support the song, to support the creative juices there. I don't have any problem with that. I've done it for myself. When I get into the studio and I'm writing my songs, my music, I expect the same from my friends. So, hard to work with. It's all relative, man. Most of the time it's just hype, media hype, and let's just say people that had bad experiences with these cats, and we tend to shoot each other down every chance we get. I'm not that kind of person, man. I'm so grateful and so happy to having worked with all these cats, and I'm looking forward to doing more. I just got a call from Paul Stanley to work with him, and unfortunately I won't be able to do that. And so on and so forth. I could start dropping names like you wouldn't believe, but I like that, man. I like the idea that I get along with people, that I understand what my role is as a bass player, as a singer, as a songwriter. And that people call me.
one of the projects you were involved with that I'm sad didn't go as far as I wished it had was,
I know what you're going to say. Yeah,
was working with Neil Sean and Jeff Scott Soto and Soul Circus, and we here at the Classic Metal Show really enjoyed that a lot, and we were hoping for big things for that, and then it just didn't go anywhere, and that was sort of a letdown.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a good example of when something's not supposed to happen. You can try and manipulate and do whatever you can to want to make it happen, but there's other plans for everybody and everything. And so I believe in that. There's always reasons why things don't move forward. And we had a great run, and I got to meet and work with Neil Sean to this day, who's a very dear friend of mine. We talk to each other every other week. I mean, we're friends. Not only are we musicians, and I love him to death, and he's another talented cat that's just over the top, man. He's so gifted. But, we stay in touch via life, we talk about life, man. So, that was a project that we were all really excited about, and whatever happened. Everybody had other projects that we were involved with, and we did what we did. As a matter of fact, this year there's an album coming out with Neil Sean, Dean Casanova, and myself.
Really?
And so that's coming out later on in the year. I just heard from his management. So there you go, man. It's about music, and relationships for me. And my career is just, let's just say this, that when I was 14 playing guitar in garage bands and all that, and I was living in Tijuana, Mexico, and I used to hear all these bands and aspired to be a musician. I had no idea that I'd come this far. I way exceeded my expectations because I had no idea where life can take you,
Sure.
So it's mind-blowing, and so I'm excited, man. I embrace it with open arms. I take care of business. I do my homework. I try to bring a good attitude to the table. I get along with most everybody I know. There's been a few exceptions, but I'm a people guy, man, and I have an attitude of gratitude, bro. That's what it is. I'm so happy to be anywhere, doing anything, and I embrace life to the fullest. Another cat that, I don't know if you were going to bring up, my experience with Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent is a force to be reckoned with in every possible way, man, and he gets a bad rep. He gets a bad rap and all that, and people try to shoot him down. He's one of the most freaking genuine human beings I know.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ted... Mr. Nugent is who he is, and he has no problem telling you who he is, and I appreciate that. I love that. I respect that, I just hope that when I grow up, I can be more like him, to be honest. So, I've had the experience of working with some great cats, man, and there's going to be more, I know. There's more, and even though I started a little later in life, I take care of myself, bro.
Sure.
I do everything I can to be around. I work out, I eat right. I don't drink. I don't do any drugs anymore. I don't. I have life. I'm addicted to life and music and everything in it.
Sure. Well, Marco, obviously you certainly, and as you just said, you're very much a people person, and it sounds like a lot of your career is based on the relationships that you've made, and certainly you've made some very key relationships. But let's face it, if you made great relationships and you sucked as a bass player, you wouldn't be able to go. You would not be the go-to guy that gets a lot of these phone calls. So, what is it about your playing? That makes you a go-to guy? Because let's face it, you've played in some very varied styles of music. I mean, Ted Nugent's not the same as Whitesnake, which is not the same as Thin Lizzy, which is not the same as, working with Lynch and whatnot. I mean, you've really had to do different musical things from project to project, and you've excelled at all of them. What is it about your playing that people see?
It comes back again, man, to that. I'm happy, man. There's no other place that I'd rather be than to be doing music. That's honest. I'm being totally honest and sincere with you. When I'm doing music, whether it's writing or in the studio or performing or whatever, even doing interviews, I just love the whole energy that's involved. Being creative is, we are so privileged that we have a chance to do something that's creative and to make a living off of it. I don't ever want to forget that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think that reflects on what I bring to the table. Then again, you might want to ask some of the people I've worked with. Maybe they can tell you. I don't know what it is. I'm just happy. I prepare myself. I try to do some homework. I try to make a difference musically and performance-wise, and that's what it is, So, and then again, I do the job, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting the calls, that I'm getting. But it's mostly, I think, and not to take anything away from that fact, but I think mostly it's an attitude. I love being there. I really do. I don't get any other that kind of enjoyment anywhere other than being with my wife and my family and at home. But that's kind of a different energy altogether. But wouldn't you be kind of like Jazz, man, if you were on stage with Ted Nugent and David Coverdale and Neil Schon and George Lynch and John Sykes and Thin Lizzy and Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries and all these other projects that I've done? I mean, gosh, yeah, man, of course I'm excited,
Right.
And work-wise, I respect the music, and I put on the hat that I need to put on to get the job done, whatever that is, Be open-minded and bring to the table what you need to bring, nothing more, nothing less, and people appreciate that in the long run.
Definitely.
Just recently, I got to hang with Nicky Six, man, and I always wanted to meet that cat because I just feel like I have so much in common with him. I respect that cat so much, He's been through quite a few things in life, and for that reason, he seems like a pillar of strength, and he is, man. He's just amazing. We had a few hangs in Australia, and I walked away having a lot more respect for that cat, He's really together spiritually, and his head, his business is together. He's a driving force again. So people like that inspire me to be the better person I can be, and so on and so forth. I don't know what it is. Is it the tattoos? That's why people call me back? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is, Marco. It has nothing to do with your playing. It's only about the tats.
It's the hair and the tats.
Sure.
Which I decided, actually, I decided to start cutting my hair shorter and shorter because it's getting to be a pain in the butt, man, on the road. It's just too much work. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, just want to be comfortable, I just want to be comfortable and make my life as simple and as easy as possible. And when I'm home, it's all about my kids and my family, my wife, my home, and I just love it, man. Honestly, I don't know if you can hear it through my voice and my expression, but I'm just happy to be alive,
Sure,
I'm
man.
happy to have my radar on 150%, and I have a lust for life in so many ways,
Dude, it's charmed life syndrome, man. You're living the dream that every musician wants to live. I mean, let's face it, you really haven't had to play in front of 30 people in 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, no. Wait a minute. You said I haven't had?
You have not had to play a small, tiny club, is what I'm saying. You've gone from big project to big project to big project.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, but it's only by choice, though.
It, man. Just recently, I've gone out and done some small venues trying to represent my music, and let's just say that there was a few venues out there that were not full. But you know what? It was beautiful. I walked away from those experiences, being a better person again. You take a few steps back and say, okay, what went wrong here? Is it the music? Is it the timing? Is it the market? Is it the lack of support from the label? Is it all of the above? Well, yeah, it's all of the above. It's
right.
like it is what it is. It's the music business that kind of it's so unpredictable. The music continues, bro.
Sure.
As long as we have something to say, people are going to show up, whether it's 20, 50, 100 thousands. You know, the business is what's ever changing. And it's our ability to kind of, you know, to kind of navigate that, to learn how to understand that. I really appreciate getting off a big tour, like a stadium tour with Kiss and Motley Crue. And I get home and I start booking these gigs, these 200-seaters and 300-seaters here and there. I dig it, man. I want to live there. I don't ever want to forget where I came from, you know? And if that takes prestige or if that takes whatever it takes away from my name, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not threatened by it. I like the challenge. I like to go in front of, you know, 30 people, like you say, and touch 3 people in a very special way. That's my driving force. You know what I mean?
Sure, man. Definitely, man.
That's what's important. So, yeah, I just have to be a little more selective of how I do what I do. And now I have management. I have some people helping me with my direction. And I'm always going to challenge myself to be creative, to challenge myself for the next situation, you know, if I can.
Sure. Definitely.
You have to live, man. Life's too short, bro.
Right, I hear you, man. Well, dude, to bring it back around, you know, we're bringing it back around to Black Star Riders, and the first song that we've heard from Black Star Riders is a song called "Bound for Glory," and let's face it, it's very much right in the pocket of, you know, what people would expect from Thin Lizzy 2013. I know it's got a different name, but you know, calling a spade, it is that, and it's very, very cool vibe. And you know, what is your take of not only the song but the reception to the song at this point?
Well, the reception I hear through management and the other cats, Ricky and Scott, that just got back from the press tour, that it's been over the top, and we're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of hits and downloads and all that. So it's all good. It's overwhelming, actually, totally unexpected. We thought we had something good. We got to say that without sounding pretentious. But the reception has been really good. And I don't want to say more than that, you know, because, like I said, things change from week to week and month to month. But in the spirit of Thin Lizzy and Phil Lynott and Gary and Scott and Brian and Darren and everything that had been done there before, remember, we started writing. The song started writing, Ricky and Damon started writing these ideas based on the idea that we were going to carry the Thin Lizzy flag. So it makes sense that we were influenced and inspired by that sound, coupled with the fact that we've been spending, you know, countless hours playing Thin Lizzy music. So you are influenced. At the end of the day, you become what you do, you know? And so... yeah, it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing that we're being compared to what, you know, Thin Lizzy would sound like today. I read it that way. You know, nothing negative from me. I'm the ultimate optimist.
well, Marco,
and that's just,
go ahead.
You know.
Well, Marco, I got it. I just want to say congratulations on the new old project. I guess that's how you want to phrase it. But you know, for myself personally, I'm thrilled to have you here on the Classic Metal Show. This is the first time I've had a chance to have you here, and both Chris and I think I could speak for Chris, we really enjoyed having you here.
Thank you, man. My pleasure. And let's catch up every so often. Feel free to call me, and I can keep you updated. I'm always doing something or another, and I love this business that I'm in, and I'm very privileged to be part of it and flattered at the same time. And come check out a show, man. That's all I can tell you. Go to marcomendoza.com and support the band as much as you can. Everything is appreciated, and like that. Let's keep rock and roll alive, you know?
Excellent. Well, we do that. We're going into the 18th year of the Classic Metal Show, so you know,
beautiful.
We're diehards.
Absolutely great, man.
All right.
It's a good thing to be you know, to be in this business that we're in. It's
sure. All right, Marco. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us, and go check out Marco with the what do you want to call it, Marco? Is it Thin Lizzy Unmasked in a way?
Yeah. Well, no, it's Black Star Riders.
Okay. Well, go check out Black Star Riders.
Black Star Riders inspired by Thin Lizzy.
Okay, that's
to say that.
Fair enough. And well, Marco, since you are a bassist, we have a traditional classic metal show question that we ask everybody, and you might relate to this, you might not, I don't know. But how has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
Let's just say that I've heard Lemmy's style of playing, bass playing, and writing, and his. He's just one of those, another forces to be reckoned with. You know, he's on the radar for a reason. He makes a difference. And people like him and a lot of other people, the list is endless, they inspire me to want to be who I am, you know. For the most part, a lot of us, human nature is we dilute ourselves. We kind of lose direction, you know. When I see Lemmy, I see Lemmy. That's who he is. You know what I'm saying? Uncompromised. He's just, he knew who he was a long time ago, and he represented himself, and he didn't compromise. And people like him inspire me, you know, bass playing wise, writing wise, iconic personality, and all of this stuff. I mean, he's. We happen to have the same management, actually. Thin Lizzy and Black Star Riders now have the same management that they used to manage Lemmy and Motorhead. So there's a lot of parallels, and the music business continues, you know. But people like Lemmy inspire me in so many ways, you know. Always will. Always will.
Sure. Well, again, Marco, it's been a pleasure having you here on the Classic Metal Show. You're welcome back here anytime, and we will take you up on that offer to catch up with you now and again, because we do enjoy speaking with you. So anyway,
thank you so much. Please feel free to call and line something up as soon as we can.
All right. All right. Well,
okay.
go check out Black Star Riders if they're coming to a town near you, and pick up their new CD when it comes out, and all that good stuff.
Okay, brother.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna end this interview with the song "Bound for Glory," and good luck to you out there, and safe travels.
Thank you so much. We'll talk soon, man. God bless.
All right. Well, here it is. This is Black Star Riders with "Bound for Glory" exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.